5minutes a day with God at gmail.com. Be sure to like and subscribe to our videos so that more people can hear the Word of God.
Good morning and welcome to 5 Minutes a Day with God. And if you're just joining us, it's just a tool to get into the Word. And this year we started in January. We've been going through the book of Genesis. And so right now we are in Genesis chapter 28. And if you're just joining us, what's going on is we're going through the family of Abraham. And so Abraham has passed, and then there's Isaac, and now we're going to be looking at, for the next section, the life of Jacob. So what happened in the last time, if you haven't seen Fridays, go ahead and see Fridays. So Jacob and his mom, basically all four of this little family unit, were kind of conspiring against each other. And so Jacob and Rebecca trick basically their dad, or Rebecca's husband, and Isaac, and they steal the blessing from Esau over to Jacob. And so Esau wants to kill Jacob, and so how Rebecca passes it on to Isaac is she says, I want Jacob to go and find a woman, a wife. I don't want him to marry one of these Canaanites. I want to send him back to my family. And so that's basically how she's saying, how she's sending him away. He needs to go find a family. He needs to go find a wife. I want him to go back into my family and find one. And so Isaac thinks that's a great idea. And so here is Jacob on his adventure. And think about all the feelings that he would be feeling. So this story is found in Genesis 28, verses 10 to 21. He's probably feeling loneliness, that he's by himself on his adventure, maybe fear. He's going on this journey. He doesn't have MapQuest or Google Maps. He doesn't know how exactly he's going to go find his mom's family, right? There's always danger in traveling by yourself in the desert, and he can die of thirst if he doesn't find water. There's so many things that can happen. He can be killed along the way, but there's also excitement. So he basically goes to sleep, and he uses this rock as his pillow, and God reveals himself to him in a dream. And so he sees this ladder between earth and heaven, and the angels are going up and down, and God speaks to him. And so this passage I want you to read, but I'm going to read a few sections of it. So I'm going to read in verse 13. And so this is God, and he's speaking to Jacob, and he's basically transferring, the covenant to him. He's saying, I am as the God of your fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and now you. And he says, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All the people on the earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I will be with you and will watch over you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Okay, so this is God just giving a promise to Jacob, reminding him of the promise and the covenant that he had with his fathers. So keep that in mind, because we're going to contrast this to what Jacob does. So then Jacob wakes up and he worships God, and he takes that stone that he used as a pillow, and he basically says, this is the area, he renames it Bethel, which is the house of God. So here, now I want to read what Jacob says to God, right? So that's what God said to Jacob. And now Jacob makes a vow. And this vow says this, and I have to admit that in reading this vow before, I didn't realize what it was saying about his character so much. But here we go. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I am taking, and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I may return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house, and of all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. Okay, so here's the contrast, right? God's promise is saying, I am the Lord your God. I will give this to you. I am with you. I will not leave you. And then just as Jacob saying to God, which was very man-centered, and what he's saying is, if God will be with me, right, and keep me, and if he provides for me so that I can return safely, then he will be my God. So it's kind of a provisional vow, right? He's saying, if you're going to do this for me, God, then I will follow you. So this is very different from Abraham, right? When God called Abraham, Abraham just left out in faith, right? He didn't say, if this happens. But here's Jacob, and these words are conditional. And then he says, and I will give you some money, right? Like, I will give you the tithe, right? And so if we look at the contrast here, is Jacob is still, he's still immature here in his relationship with God. And he's still very self-focused. And he's still trying to control what he can control, right? We've seen that from the very beginning. He tried to control his birthright by taking it basically from his brother. He tried to control the blessing that was already his because now he has a birthright. And now he's even trying to kind of have some type of relationship with God that's not based on submission, right? It's saying, if you do this to me, God, then I will respond in this way. And so Jacob still is, and we will see that God is going to develop Jacob's character, and God is going to teach him what it means to submit to him, and God's going to teach him, he's going to discipline him basically. And Jacob's coming into a big trial for the next 14 years, and God's going to use that to kind of hone out maybe some of the selfishness and self-focus that Jacob has. So we're on this journey now. We're going to be looking at Jacob's life. So think about that. Is that something that we do as well? We may say that to God. God, I will follow you. If you bless me with a husband, if you bless me with children, if you bless me with good health, if you give me these things that I want, if you give me a healthy bank account, then I will tie to you and I will follow you. I might tell my neighbor about you or something, God, right? Are we also conditional with our relationship with God? It's very eye-opening. So think about, how do we respond to God? Do we say, God, you are my God, you are my Lord, this is all yours? Or we say, God, if you do this for me, then I'll do that for you, right? Think about that. I think there's a lot more, we try to negotiate a lot with God more than we realize. All right, spend some time reflecting on that and confess and get right with God if that's where you've been. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Remember, 5 minutes in the Word can change your life.